Hey guys, it's Brent, and I'm back, and this is video number 4 in the series of videos for Typo Negative's Slow, Deep, and Hard album. And like I said, if you haven't seen the previous 3 videos, you can go back and watch them, because basically what I'm doing is I'm breaking these albums down into individual videos for the songs, sometimes grouping them together if they're shorter songs, or things like interludes or joke tracks or things like that, prank tracks. And but if you haven't seen the previous videos, go back and check out video 1, because I talk about track 1 and I talk about the history of the band, what's going on, leading the band up to this time. And but this track is the 4th track on the album. It's called Prelude to Agony, and Prelude to Agony, we're going to talk a little bit about it. Let me get my notes up here. And I got my beers. For those of you who are counting, if you've been watching previous videos, I'm shooting these all in one night. And I've got some time, and I've got my trusty Hard Rock Pilsner glass here. And I've been trying out different beers. So, and incorporating them into Typo Negative videos just because. But this is a beer from Blowing Rock Ale, and it's called High Country Ale, I guess. And this, I assume, is brewed at Blowing Rock Brewing Company in Hickory, North Carolina. And the cool thing about these is these have all come from local breweries. The last one was from Salisbury. The one before that was from Catawba, which is here in Morganton. And this is in Hickory, which is about 20 miles east of here. And this is just a high country ale. And my wife's been picking out the order that I'm doing them in. And I think she's saving the reds and the darks for later. I made for the last video because one of the videos, the song's kind of long. I may drink 2 in that video, who knows. But anyway, I'm going to pour this out here. And we're going to start talking about Prelude to Agony. This is a lighter beer too. Might be pouring it a little fast. And I've never tried this before, so I've never drank these before. Tried to expand my craft beer drinking. But Prelude to Agony, it is track 4 on the Slow, Deep, and Hard album. It runs 12 minutes and 16 seconds. It's the second longest track on the album. The first track is the longest track on the album. It's broken down into 4 parts. One part is, the first part's called The Truth, and it's kind of like an instrumental part. It's kind of the part that gets it started up to the lyrics when it goes into that riff, and then he starts saying there is no pain like that of desire. And then that is the second part. That is called God, Love, Fire, Women, Death. And then once you get out of that phrase, they go into the third part of the song called Jackhammer Rape, which is probably my favorite track. My favorite part of this song is the Jackhammer Rape part. That's approaching a red. That's darker than, if you've watched the previous videos, that's darker than what I've had so far. So we'll see. That's got a nice head on it. We'll let that get down a little bit. I'm dripping all over here. But anyway, that's phrase 3, part 3. And then the last part is called Pain is Irrelevant. And that's the 4th part. And that's kind of towards the end, where it's just a lot of Peter growling stuff and music and stuff like that. So it's very long and has a lot of parts. Like I said, 12 minutes and 16 seconds. It's very much carnivore and very much what Typo Negative would become to be known for, all at the same time. Once again, it deals with anger and pain of a relationship gone bad, question if it's even worth it. Then it moves into the anger and revenge through torture and torment in Jackhammer Rape. You know, it's got lyrics like, is there no pain like that of desire? Is there no difference between women and fire? One burns the spirit, the other the flesh. Is sex worth the price of certain death? And then it says, down on into Jackhammer Rape, my favorite part of the song. Agony and ecstasy, your cries of pain, my pleasure. Know my machine internally, your torment I treasure. Lifeblood combines with semen, your screaming, my laughter. The compressor's running smoothly, 'tis vengeance I am after. Begging becomes your love song, you're dying, I masturbate. For the crime of burning me, I give to thee jackhammer rape. Very violent words, very violent, and like I said, I've got 3 daughters. I wouldn't wish this on any of them. But like I said, I think he wrote it rather than doing it. Like I said in my last video, I think his writing was therapy for him, and we got some great songs out of it, not only on this album, but albums to come. This song gets very much reworked and put on the Origin of the Feces album. Peter reworked a lot of the songs, and this one gets very much reworked, and it's on there also as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started with Prelude to Agony, and I'll throw my thoughts in on it as we go. And if you get bored, just watch the typo video behind me. That's why I've got it up there. But, I'm going to try some of this beer while we're waiting on it to kind of get going here. This is one of my... I really like this song. The first part is okay. It's very carnivore-ish. And even the jackhammer rape is very carnivore-ish. But it's also typo negative at the same time. And I love this right here. I love these real slow phrases, these real slow riffs where the drums just, the snare. You only get a snare beat like maybe every 5 or 6 seconds, I love these real slow, and they do these a lot in concert. They've used these riffs, they've picked them out, and they've put them leading into other songs. I've heard them do this, and then they went into Love You to Death. It was like, dun, and it's like, went into Love You to Death. I saw that on a Whacking video, I believe. So they were very good at mixing and mashing things and doing things like that. And for those of you curious, this is a very good beer. It's a little more stout because we're approaching, reds and ambers. Like I said, I'm no beer expert. I just like beer. I'd rather drink beer than liquor and stuff like that, because liquor, it gets you drunk too fast, and I like a slow burn. I like a buzz rather than getting drunk. But so now we're going to start into the main lyric here. We're a couple minutes into the song. And this just kind of gets the song started. That was the truth at the beginning. So now we're actually hit God, Fire, Love. God, Love, Fire, Woman, Death. Where he comes in with the lyrics. And no, sex is not worth the price of certain death. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and you guys can correct me, you typo negative fans can correct me, but I believe on Slow Deep and Hard, not Slow Deep and Hard, but Origin of the Feces, the Mock Live album, I don't think this part is there. I think that riff of the truth is there at some point in time in it, but then they use jackhammer rape at some point in time, but they basically, I think they start this, but then they get interrupted supposedly by a bomb threat, and that's whenever you flip the album or whatever, you flip the CD or where it goes to the other side, and then they come in and they start jackhammer rape, if I'm not mistaken. By the time I get to, which the next album I'm going to be doing is Origin of the Feces, I'm going to specifically let you know when I'm doing the songs what they pulled from where. So we're back into this riff here. So they've already did the thing, and they've done the absolution, I am whole. And then they go through this part here where they do these kind of like Gregorian chants where it's not really on any lyric sheets, and you really don't know what Peter's saying. And, I found out some things. I found out some interesting things doing my research and everything, like the lesbian choir or whatever that you always see credited for singing in the background or whatever on a lot of their CDs. I always thought it was an actual lesbian choir, but it actually, in fact, was typo negative. I read that in an article that it was actually, in fact, them also. They just called it a lesbian choir because they consider themselves lesbians because they like women. And I don't know why I'm looking at this camera, I guess because I'm drunk. Or I'm not drunk, but I am buzzing. So if I'm looking at the wrong cameras and looking off camera, just forgive me. I'm trying to hold it together here, but this is like my third beer and on an empty stomach. I'm a pretty lightweight. I'm not going to say that I'm a person that can drink somebody into the ground because I'm not. That's why I have the channel called 3 Beer Brant that I've not put anything on yet, because that's a joke that people have with me is they call me 3 Beer Brant because I get 3 beers in me and I start doing stupid stuff and saying stupid things and get really super flirty and stuff like that. So we got this part right here. I'll let you hear part of it. It's just that Gregorian chanting thing that they're doing. It's not my favorite thing. You got the atmosphere, the wind and stuff. Like I said, Josh Silver is more than a keyboard player. He doesn't just play keyboards. I mean, everything that he does on the keys and the atmosphere that he creates and stuff, I think is it's one of the things that makes typo negative. What makes typo negative. So now we're working into jackhammer rape. And here we go. You have that double bass. Just an amazing part of this song. And like I said, I can see definitely why this made it to the Origin of the Feces album, because it's the best part of the song. My laughter. 'Tis vengeance I'm after. I actually like how he says, like I said, we'll get to Origin of the Feces. I like all these songs on here, but the versions that's on Origin of the Feces I like better. Peter sings them differently. I think he sings them a little less carnivore-ish. He actually sings, and he sounds a little less like that carnivore sound and more towards the Peter that would be the typo negative. So we're getting back into it here. So that's when it goes into the jackhammer rape. And like I said, this is my favorite part of this song. I can't say that enough. It's one of my favorite parts on the album. And like I said, but I like songs better on Origin of the Feces. I, for the longest part, didn't realize that, because the first typo negative album I ever heard was Bloody Kisses. So he's going to go back into Pain. The first album I heard was Bloody Kisses. My friend Chris, my childhood friend Chris, who's no longer with us, rest in peace, he exposed me to typo negative and bands like Danzig and things like that. And I I remember first time I heard Kenny Hickey, I'm like, oh, Hickey, and then I heard Glenn Danzig had his drummer Chuck Biscuits, and Biscuits. So you got Hickeys and Biscuits, but I loved both of them, and I didn't actually hear the first two albums until the time period in between Bloody Kisses and October Rust. So I heard Bloody Kisses first, and then I think I heard Origin of the Feces first. So I don't know if that's why I like those versions better. And I remember thinking, oh man, these guys have already done a live album. I didn't realize until later, many years later actually, that it was a mock live album. And that just impressed me even more because it sounds like a live album. The crowd, the hostile crowd, and Peter taunting the crowd, and just the way they do it and make it sound like they're in a club and they're playing in a club and stuff. It just really impressed me that they did that and they made it sound live. Because I think it's the first song on the album, the first song on the album of this album, they put the little fake crowd clapping at the end of it, and it sounds, that's a sound bite that you can get and press on a key, and that sounded so fake. I thought it was kind of cheesy, but Typo has an element of cheese in a lot of their first albums, and even in a lot of their later albums, they keep an element of cheese to them. But now, I think, let me go back to the song here. We're in the last couple minutes of the song, and this is basically, it's the pain is irrelevant part. Very much Black Sabbath. I mean, that almost sounds like Iron Man right there. That sounds like they're getting ready to break into I am Iron Man, because they were big Sabbath fans. Pete was a big Sabbath fan. He was a big Beatles fan, covered a lot, covered the Beatles song on one of the albums. And so, even covered some Sabbath songs on some of the albums. But what I was saying is, I heard this album. This was probably the last album that I heard before I heard October Rust. And then October Rust just blew me away because October Rust was just so much different, even more different than Bloody Kisses. And so it was, it was like this glorious masterpiece. And it was the one, Bloody Kisses was was the album that grabbed me. And then Origin of Feces and Slow, Deep, and Hard kind of, kept me going. But Bloody Kisses was the album that secured me as a Typo Negative fan. And, I'm not going to say that Bloody Kisses, or I'm not going to say that Slow, Deep, and Hard is my least favorite I'm not going to say it's my least favorite Typo Negative album. And I'm not really ranking these like I am the Kiss album, so I guess I can say it. Man, it's tough to say because I think I need to go back and listen to, because there's some Typo Negative albums I listen to a whole lot more than others. And probably the two Typo Negative albums I listen to the least, for some reason, whatever they are, is probably Dead Again and this album. I listen to these two probably the least. I definitely listen to October Rust the most. And then it's probably tied between World Coming Down and Bloody Kisses. Then probably Life Is Killing Me. And then maybe Dead Again and Slow, Deep, and Hard are probably tied for the ones I listen to the least. I'm not saying I don't like them, because I like all of Typo Negative's albums. Typo Negative is my favorite band. But just for some reason, those are the albums I usually end up listening to the least. And October Rust is hands down the one I listen to the most. I listen to it every single day. So it's every single day. And so I'm going to finish my beer here. And going to say that, wow, these are really starting to hit. But Prelude to Agony, I like it just because of the fact that it's got Jackhammer Rape. And it's got some really, really good lyrics. It's got that lyric at the very beginning of it that they use a lot in other in concert and other things. So it's really, really good. I want to finish this beer on camera. I've been doing it on the other ones, but I'm starting to stutter a little bit. It's a little more stout than the other ones. I'm going to be slurring like hell by the time I'm done with all this. And there we go. There it is. So, I hope you're enjoying these videos. We got one more video to go because I'm going to collaborate. I'm going to combine. That's the word. I'm going to combine the last 3 songs into one video. And I've got something really interesting to show about one of the songs, one of the tracks in the next video. So go on to the next video. If you watch this one, go on to the next one. If you haven't subscribed to me yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe. You can hit the subscribe button. You can give me a like on this video. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share your love for Typo with me, because I love them and I like to hear about Typo fans. We seem to be a rare breed, even though I know they've got thousands and millions of fans. We seem to be a rare breed. I have a hard time running into Typo negative fans in person. I run into them online all the time. I don't run into them in person very often. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. You can click right here and click on my face. Make it easy for you to subscribe, and click the notifications button so you get notifications. And you can click right here and see another video if you want, if you like or not, whichever you want to do. But anyway, I'm Brant. This is In My Head, and I'm definitely in my buzzing head right now. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.